Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Caitlin. My little dog, who's just about to come and interrupt, is called Frank. And I'm a life and love coach who helps women and sometimes men find healthy, happy relationships. Now, today we are going to be talking about one of the most common dating patterns that I see. And I would say it's really one of the most frustrating for clients at every single stage, regardless of how much work they've done, how much awareness they have, and what is going on. And this is the dating pattern where you perhaps don't believe that you can have stability and passion. And usually this comes out in the phrase, the ones I like don't like me, and the ones who are interested, who are available, who do like me, I don't fancy, there's no spark. And it might be the ones you like, or it might be the ones you're attracted to, either don't feel the same about you or aren't available or actually decent human beings. And it can be, you can want to shake everything, because it is that thing of, why is this happening to me? Why? Either this is a pattern that you might only just be becoming aware of, or you might have done a lot of work. You might be really aware that this is the trap you fall into. You might have done so much on not wanting to be attracted to unavailable people anymore, but for some reason this keeps happening. And today I want to talk about why this can happen, why this can be our pattern. And then in part 2, I'm going to be giving you 4, maybe 5 tips of how you can start to break this cycle and what that actually looks like in terms of practical steps. So usually when we're in this pattern, it can mean things like we can get a little bit obsessed with somebody when we do like them, because it so rarely happens where we feel that connection and they seem to like us too. And then we can go into that anxious state of really waiting on tenterhooks for something to go wrong, or feeling like we've got to prove ourselves or be whatever they want or make it work, which usually then means we can have quite self-sabotaging behavior, or anxiety goes through the roof. We can also quite easily project an image of who we think that person is onto the situation and let our thoughts and feelings run away. Or, if we're focusing on the people who actually we don't fancy, there isn't that spark, we will then start nitpicking and finding everything wrong about those people. Why it wouldn't work, why we don't fancy them, the shoes they were wearing, that sort of thing. And really this is all fueled by that false belief that you don't believe you can have both. You're so used to thinking, okay, for me, attraction is this hot, unavailable, or person who isn't right for me, okay? And the people who are stable, who are available, who do want a relationship, they're boring and I don't fancy them and there's no spark. That is the mindset that we get into. So let's dig into why this happens and why we get into this mindset. And there are so many reasons, so I want to give you a flavour of what they could be, as hopefully one of them might resonate. So in simple terms, without going into attachment theory and things like that just yet, actually in social behaviour psychology, there is something very simply called the scarcity effect, right? Which is when something is seen as kind of rare or not as readily available, or that something, or in this case somebody, that not everybody can have, we for some reason want this thing more, okay? Just, we see it as slightly higher value, so for whatever reason it triggers something in our brains and we go, oh, okay, I want that thing. And especially if we aren't used to, or we don't have the mindset of there being plenty of people out there who are attractive and we will fancy and will meet our needs and will want a relationship, if we're in that scarcity kind of mindset and belief pattern, then we do latch on, okay? The second point I want to say is from a behavioural scientist called Dr. Helen Fisher, who actually looked at the brain when it came to feelings of rejection and unrequited love. And what she found was the kind of feeling of rejection influences certain areas of the brain that also deal with addiction, cravings, motivation, control, all of those things. So when you are in that pattern of wanting something that you can't have, unrequited love, that that lack of kind of return of our feelings can feel very, very addictive. So it's a really interesting study if you want to go and read that. Number 3, which is, I personally think, one of the biggest and certainly one that I work on most commonly with clients, but this is how our attachment style will influence our perception of attraction and chemistry. First of all, if we do have more of an insecure attachment style that leans more towards the anxious, which is about 25 of the population, personally, I think we all have, or a lot of us have, an element of insecure attachment somewhere down the line. But we can start to associate love and attraction with uncertainty, with that roller coaster, with the ups and the downs, and the lack of stability, let's say. So that is kind of feeds into that anxious avoidant dance of the people who will pull away, who aren't available, who can't meet your needs. So when somebody is pretty secure, available, likes you, consistent, it can feel very boring. Plus the fact that the underlying fear here really is fear of abandonment, fear of being left, fear of not being good enough. So subconsciously, we can often seek to put ourselves in situations where that fear is confirmed. So we unconsciously will be a little bit more attracted to people who maybe provoke those familiar feelings and can't meet our needs. So we will be drawn to people who effectively can't give us what we want. I think this is number 4, isn't it? It's definitely worth mentioning childhood or formative relationships here, because somewhere down the line we might have learned actually that love is chaotic. Love isn't certain. Love is that push and pull. Love is unrequited. So if this has been our experience, or this has been what we've internalized, then we will be very drawn back to familiar emotional patterns. We will be drawn back to situations, whether it's your overall dating experience or one person in particular, that produces those same feelings of anxiety or chaos or whatever it might be. And when that gets too much, you will crave the stability, and that's, where you might go to that really steady partner, but then it might feel too stable, it might feel boring, and it might feel suffocating in a lot of those instances. So then we crave the chaos again. Yes, I know, we're complicated people. And the last one I will mention is really our beliefs. That all these are underpinned by what we have formed as a kind of false belief about what is positive or possible for us versus what is not. So if we do have that thought, the ones I like never like me, the ones I like never like me, the ones I like never like me, that will become a belief, a false belief, and we will go along deleting, distorting, rearranging information that we see in order to collect evidence that fits with this new belief. That is very fundamentally how we work as humans. We have confirmation bias. We want to be proven that we are right. We want to feel safe and secure in who we are and our beliefs, so we will go and collect evidence for it. So those are the 5 reasons, not only the 5 reasons, but they're a few of the reasons that I have chosen to share with you today, because hopefully one of them might shed a little bit of light on why this is your pattern and where it comes from, but also just so you can really start generating that awareness. In part 2, I'm going to be sharing 4 to 5 concrete things you can go away and do to start to move away from these cycles and move away from this patterning. As always, please rate, subscribe, review. Please leave me any comments. I am also running a group coaching program on the 14th of February called Leading in Love. This is a 10-week boot camp for your love life, where you will go through every single stage and area of growth, from finding out what is blocking you, to how you can navigate dating apps, and everything in between. So I will link some information in the bio, but please do get in touch with anything that you need.